Hey guys, welcome back to the WCS channel. David here again. We're going to talk about boxes this week. Some that we've made ourselves and some that are commercially available. This is a Nest big snappy box, and this is the Nest snappy box for mice. This one's for rats, this one's for mice. So from there, let's get started. So the first one I'm going to start off with is the box that we've made for our coral traps. I know there's some questions about them on one of the videos afterwards, so I figured I'd show it and so forth. Our boxes are fairly durable. This is an all composite material. It's basically the decking you can buy. They don't need to be this robust. It's just that we use ours in and day out, and we want to make sure they're gonna last. There's no maintenance to these boxes. You don't have to coat them with a preservative to help save the wood and so forth. They're all it's all plastic, so it lasts a long time. It also looks a little bit more professional as well. The biggest thing we developed this box for is to hide the squirrel once it's caught. So basically our traps are sitting here, so we have all this length to hide that squirrel inside the box. So like I mentioned in the previous videos, the less public see, the better, and so forth. Their feature we put on here is a lock. We have our locks are basically key-like. We have a so forth, so any of the employees on the service side can go up to the box and open it. They don't need a special key or anything besides the one that fits them all and whatnot. We do that because that way there's less chance of people interfering with the trap and opening up and seeing what's inside and so forth. The coral traps are pretty strong, so for little kids' fingers or stuff like that, you gotta remember it can do quite a bit of damage, so you want to be safety first type thing. The other reason we use boxes is we can funnel our animals to how we want to catch them better. It's not always perfect, but it's definitely better than if you just have a trap left open where they can approach from the sides, the back, the front. This way, when they're approaching our traps in here, they're approaching it from the direction we want. So from there, I'll show you the inside. So this is what the inside of our boxes look like. This piece can actually remove, so it makes it a little bit easier to take the animal out. Just different stuff to consider when making a box. This is our bait chamber. So we can fill this up with peanuts, walnuts, and a little bit of your lure that you want to use. And we try to make this come up as close to the top as possible for when this lid comes down. It's going to prevent any animal from getting access to your bait. Mice will still get access, but we don't mind that because when the mice go in and out of here, they're actually leaving a scent trail with them. So you get a scent kind of dispersed where a squirrel and stuff can follow. So that's another thing to consider. And most of the time, we've had a huge cut down on our bait stealing just because of our bait chambers basically excluding 95% of the animals that come to our trap. If there's for instance, if there's a squirrel caught here, then say another squirrel can't come in here and rob bait from us. So that's one other thing to consider. Like I said, it's not 100% because it's not at the very, very top. It is made. These are made by half by half stainless steel mesh. But so the gist of it is this way we can have two traps, one facing that way and one facing this way, with one bait chamber, so two captures potential per check. If you're lucky, you'll get multiples on the same one, but that's not very often. The other thing about it is by having these in here, when these are designed for coral traps, I'll go grab one in one second. So as you can see how they sit in there now, there's how they position. When the animal comes through that hole right here, it's basically in line exactly how we want them to catch. This kind of forces them down a bit and onto the pan, so they basically have to travel through the pan to get caught. So just consider that when you're designing your traps. It's not all about the outside. Sometimes it's the inside that you want to alter as well. You may, right here for instance, put a pad down for it, raises it up to the same height as your pan. That way there's no step down or step up. We haven't had to do that with the coral traps. And like I said, it's our main go-to gray squirrel trap that we use. We like them a lot. So the other thing you want to consider when you're building boxes and your target animal is the size of your entrance hole right there. So this is roughly 1.5 inches, and that's what we use basically for gray squirrels in our boxes. So what happens is you can't get cat going through here or anything like that. We have caught juvenile skunks, so yeah, remember, nothing's ever perfect. How they get through here, their heads basically most animals go by their head size. So if their head can fit, their body can fit. Just take that as a general rule. It's not always perfect, but it's a pretty good rule. So this is another thing about the benefits of building your own boxes. You can design them for your target animal, and that's what we've done here. We designed it for gray squirrels. The other thing too is most animals, not most, a lot of animals are naturally attracted to white, and circles for holes are a natural hole kind of entrance. So it's a little bit better than if you had a square hole here, for instance. That's another key thing to remember. The other thing too is like these will eventually get chewed out, but we've made our boxes that you can deassemble them, pull this out because it's just in slots just like the other one I showed you, replace it, and then put this back on. We didn't want this whole thing to hinge because we wanted the extra strength of having used 2 panels inside for the actual box. So basically that's the gist of our box that we make for squirrel traps. We might be selling these, probably made out of wood. It's still up in the air. They're going to be a bit expensive to ship because they are a larger item. But if you are interested in them, just give us a shout at the store and we can see, potentially come up with a price. We're not positive yet. So, but I wanted to show you the people about how to use boxes and why we use boxes, type thing. So that's our custom box that we make for our service side. We'll move on to some other boxes here. This is the Ness Big Snappy box. We just brought in the Ness line of traps, mostly rodent, so mice and rats. You can use your rat traps on chipmunks and not gray squirrels, red squirrels. They are big enough for that. Again, it's just kind of the same concepts. You have an entrance hole on each side of this trap, and inside, one sec. Sorry about that, I just wanted to go grab some actual rat traps. So these are the rat traps by Ness. I've been using them the last couple days, and I've caught 2 chipmunks inside this box, and it's caught perfectly. That's only 2, so we're in the midst of testing them. Like I said, it's a new product line for us. The thing I like about it is these traps are secured inside this box. So there's a tab at the front. I don't know if you can see it there. It's right about there. It holds the front of the trap. And then when this lid closes, this two pieces here sit on the back. So I can close this, you can see, and I can shake it. And the traps are still in the same exact position. And I can do that when they're set. And yet these pans are still very sensitive. It does not take much to set them off. I was actually surprised at how well they stayed set. So basically, again, it's the same principle. They come in your entrance hole, they're guided through, and they're head first onto the pan. They're not coming from the sides, they're not coming from the back. They're coming from head on. And again, it's two traps, so 2 captures per check potential. So that's just another thing. The other thing about these boxes too are they're open through here, but you can take a screw out. There's a screw here that's in here. You can take it out and actually screw it shut, or you can again use a tie strap or a cable lock, feed it through here, and comes out a hole in here, and you can lock it shut. Again, that's just for safety, safety of your customers, etc. So that's, like I said, the big Snappy box. Been fairly impressed with them so far. And this is the smaller mouse one. I'm just going to put it back on the tripod here. Yeah, so and then this is the little Nest, the smaller mouse, smaller snappy box for the mouse traps. It actually has a key for it. You can use a flat screwdriver, just inserts into this hole. But again, it adds a safety factor, and that's what I'm trying to get across about using boxes. So basically, the other thing I like about this one is, again, the traps actually go in underneath a little clip, and then you push them down and they get locked in. So as you can see, so I like that. Again, these traps are fairly simple to set to, and again, like goes, but yet it is super sensitive. So this goes to show you how traps can be made. So again, once you have your 2 traps in here, you bait them as instructed in these little bait caps, or in the center here if you want to do it in the center. You put your cap on, and there it is. They're locked in there. You can throw this in the back of your truck. Do you want, and so forth. Again, same principles applies. A limited opening for your target animal, depending on your target animal. And again, they're directed in there to hit the trap appropriately. Versus if you just have it freestanding, you might come from the sides, vice versa. So again, there's a kind of a theme developing with the boxes that we like. It's basically hole size to match target animal, and direction that for that animal to hit that trap the way you want it to hit, with so forth. The third point would be, again, safety for kids, other people, so forth. And then the fourth one would be it keeps any dead animals out of the view of the public. So that's kind of your overall theme, your objective when you're making a box. So from there, the other thing I wanted to go over too, another tip for boxes, is this one demonstrates it really well. I'm going to set this trap here on one side. I'm going to shut it. So for ease of setting, and checking. You can see on that one, you see the metal bar, that's the set trap, that's the unset trap. So if you're going by this and you want to know if it's if there's that trap is set off or not, and you don't necessarily have to rebait it, that's a really nice feature too. So consider that when you're doing your boxes too, to have a little, maybe a little peek hole potentially, or method of checking it without opening it. Saves you time, especially if you're a company. So anyway, that's the basics of using boxes to trap animals. And this can be applied across a range of different mouse traps or euthanasia traps. You can go as far as even the cage trap by putting covers over it. You're essentially creating a box for that trap. So just remember that if you're ever going to build boxes, or if you're purchasing them, to think about what you want in it and how you think it should be designed if you're making it yourself. If you're buying one, look at the different features, as from baiting areas to how it directs the animal and so forth. Anyway, I just want to thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button and for future videos. Next week I'm actually going to do a review of the nest traps and boxes that we brought in, the new line. I have actually been fairly impressed with them so far, so stay tuned for that next week. Thanks. Bye.